Good morning, Pastor Craig from St. Mark's Lutheran Church in Regina. We're going to begin today. Today is the fifth Sunday of Lent, and we're going to sing two verses of one of my favorite hymns.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning new mercies I see. All I have needed thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Summer and winter and springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above, join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning new mercies I see. All I have needed thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Music is a very powerful part of our worship services, and I hope we can do this every Sunday. This is the third Sunday of the virus, and we're going to keep doing this until it's safe for us to join together. The gospel reading for today is John chapter 11, verses 1 to 45. It's a very lengthy one. I'm not going to read it for you, but I will include it on the web or the email that I send to everybody. It's the story of Lazarus and Mary and Martha. Mary and Martha were very close to Jesus, as was Lazarus. And it says 3 times in the gospel reading that Jesus loved these people. Jesus loved Lazarus. Jesus loved Mary and Martha. And then Lazarus died, and we know the story of Jesus coming. And at first he was chastised for not being here to heal him before he died. And then Jesus raised him from the dead. The numbers in China are thankfully going down, but there's one number in China that is going up. And that is the number of divorces in China. And it's quite shocking, and people don't know exactly why it is. My guess is that people staying together and being together in a confined space for a long period of time can lead to lots of issues and problems. Hopefully and prayerfully, this is not going to be the same case in Canada. It is my prayer that the numbers of divorces do not rise. And maybe because we have larger homes than they have there, we have a little more space. It's getting warmer, and we can find our own space that we need from one another. But hopefully that won't be the case here. But the thing I believe that is happening in China is that when we are in a confined space, and fear is a part of the equation, it can bring the worst out in us. And if we use the law, if we point out each other's problems and mistakes and shortcomings, this will lead to a deterioration of the relationship. In the gospel story this morning, it is not the law that brings healing, it is love that brings healing to Lazarus. It is love that heals the brokenness in our lives. It is not the law. I just finished a compelling series on Netflix called Unorthodox. And it's about a broken relationship in an extremely ultra-Orthodox Hasidic Jewish community in Brooklyn. And in that community, it is their belief that the law is going to heal the relationships, but it does not. The law further destroys and creates brokenness. Love is what heals. In this compelling story, love is what healed this woman's heart, and it took her out of this legalistic community. I recommend you to watch this program. This story of Lazarus is a very powerful one that all of us know. And most religious communities, it's not just this Hasidic Jewish community, most churches, most denominations and faiths, you try to use the law to heal brokenness. And it doesn't work. It is love that heals the brokenness in our lives. And as we are gathered together as families and spend more time with one another, we have to look to love. We have to look to understanding and compassion to heal any brokenness that is happening. And it seems to be human nature for us to want to point out the errors of our loved ones. And if you changed, if you became more acceptable in my eyes, then this broken relationship would be healed again. But that's not the way things work. I was talking to somebody the other day about a broken part of their relationship, and I says, how do you assign the blame in this brokenness? Well, he said 80-20. 80% is her fault and 20% is mine. And I chuckled and laughed, and I thought, there is one of the key points of the brokenness in our relationships. We see things only from our perspective, and we believe that very little of the fault is ours, and a huge amount is the other person. Love helps us to switch things, helps us to see things from the other perspective. When there's brokenness with our children, it is easy to use the law and demand that they obey and fall under the guidelines that we've established, but it doesn't work that way. Love helps us to understand and see what the issues and problems really are. Love compels us to compassion, forgiveness, and wholeness. My prayer is that we don't have the same statistic in Canada as they have in China, that we have all these divorces months down the road. But I do believe this, that just as the love of Jesus healed the brokenness in Lazarus and Mary and Martha, it is his love that heals our brokenness, and it helps us to heal the troubles that are in our families. May God bless you, and we go forward with God's love.